Here we are, August the 7th, 2025. Back again with a episode of What I'm Watching. Volume 10. So doing this 10 weeks now. So some things I'd like to mention. If you have any ideas for the show or something you'd like to see come on, something you want me to watch or check out, I'm open to it. I'm new to this, so I'm open for suggestions. Say something in the comments, email me. I'm Sean at GatorBladeFilms.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, do conventions. Next one, I'll be at Cinema Wasteland in Ohio in October, so I'm reachable. Anyway, let's jump right into it. So, first off, we have Akira. All right, just picked this up. So I am not the biggest anime fan. I'm really just not my thing. I'm sorry. With that being said, I was watching a podcast or some YouTube show, and it came up, and they had a lot to say about it, and it really appealed to me. It seemed really interesting, and I'd seen this cover for years. I'd seen it in video stores and heard people talking about it, and I didn't know anything about it other than this cover art, and that it was anime. So anyway, I bought a copy. I checked it out, and I really liked it. So it's a post-apocalyptic animated movie that centers around this kind of rogue biker gang that things don't go so well for them. And they're not necessarily bad people either. It's not like they're just young kids doing their thing. And the two main characters are Tetsuo and Kaneda. Hopefully I'm saying that correct. And Tetsuo sort of becomes the villain in the movie, and Kaneda becomes the heroine. And without giving too much away, basically Tetsuo is exposed to this chemical that it's a brain-altering chemical that the government is supplying, and it's really kind of eerie because it almost reminds us of what things are going on today. Like they're trying to put this chemical into the population, and it kind of backfires on them. And by the end of the movie, I don't want to say all is well, but it gets resolved. With that being said, things that stood out to me, the soundtrack is really great. It had this like tribally, just drum and bass, and it was just a really interesting soundtrack. And it's kind of opened up my world. I want to check out more stuff like this because I'm never been into this. It's never been my thing, and this is a great one to start out with. If you're someone like me that anime is not your thing, and you're even just animated in general, this one was a really great movie. I definitely say it's for adults. There's some rough stuff in it. It's not a cartoon for kids, so I don't know if you want to be exposing your 5-year-old child to this. But great movie. Check it out, Akira. All right, next up, we got Lost Faith. So I have the DVD release and the Blu-ray that Saturn's Core put it out, or Saturn's Core. So I didn't watch this version of it. I bought it a while ago, and I did watch this version. And there's a couple different cuts on it. There's some added scenes in there. It's a great version to have. But I watched the DVD release that I got from the man himself, Joel D. Wynkoop. Signed it, personalized it, and I picked this up over 10 years ago. They were doing a showing at the Tampa Picture Show, which was a really cool place, and unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. You could go there, watch a movie, order a meal. You'd have a server come out to you and check on you and bring you whatever you want. And it wasn't just like popcorns and soda. It was like spaghetti, nachos, hamburgers, hot dogs, fried chicken, whole deal. Get a whole dinner. Anyway, this is a great version of the movie too. There's a VHS release. There's the original and the Cult Movie Mania one. There may be, I think Joel might even have another DVD release, possibly. He tends to do that. So this is my favorite Joel D. Wynkoop produced movie. It's not my favorite role. My favorite role with him is in Tim Raiders Creek, but this is the favorite movie of mine that he's made. So it's basically, he is a gentleman that is going through a problem. His wife is kidnapped, and he's lost his faith. And throughout the course of the movie, he's getting his faith back through karate chops. So, indie movie, shot on video, very independent, but it had a lot of heart. I could see some people saying it's not for everybody, just because it's shot on video. Like, you got to look past that. Look at the effort that they put in this movie. There's a lot of locations, a lot of actors, stunts, for stunt choreography. I mean, there's a lot of shots. I could tell. I don't know how long he shot it for, but it had to be a while. And I enjoy it. It's fun every time I watch it. So this version, I'll say one thing about this version that I prefer and why I didn't watch the Blu-ray cut is there is a Sleaze box commentary on it, which so the original Sleaze box is John Miller and Chris Woods. If you've never heard of them, they produced various films, Crack the Holocaust, Scumbags, and they had a YouTube show, and they were, kind of around the people that produced this, and they asked them to do a commentary. I think might be the only one they ever did. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris Woods. But it's hilarious. I can't watch the movie without it. Almost, it adds a new layer to this movie. So, pick this copy up from Joel. Watch it with the Sleazebox commentary. I think Joel does a commentary too. I think I've listened to that one once. It's cool, but it's very mystery science theater with Chris Woods and John Miller doing the commentary on this movie. So anyway, that's Lost Faith. Joel D. Wine. All right, next. Oh, we got a fun one. So I revisited Up in Smoke. This is this is the album that I've had for years. This is the original album. I picked it up at a garage sale. Show you everything. I mean, this is what you're missing with physical media if you don't. I mean, this is cool. And I heard I don't have it, unfortunately. But my dad told me in this album there used to come with this giant rolling paper inside of it, which I think is really cool. So I keep this around. This is cool. But I watched this DVD release of Up in Smoke. There's been a Blu-ray, VHS, but this is what I have. It gets the job done. It's got some special features on it, and the movie, of course. So it's going all the way. I'll show you what this isn't colored in or anything. It's kind of basic, but that's the release. So Up in Smoke. If you've never seen this movie, Cheech Marin, Tommy Chong, Stacy Keach, Tom Skerritt as Strawberry, a bunch of other cameos that I'm unfortunately forgetting. But I want to say this was one of the first marijuana comedies that kind of put drugs in a positive light rather than negative. You got movies that do that later on, and they're kind of like, hey, drugs are bad. This one made it funny, and I feel like they're the first guys to do it. You got Harold and Kumar, you got that Killer Buds movie, Half Baked, which are all great too. But if I had to pick one, this would be my favorite. These two guys are just too much, man. And I think I've seen interviews with them, and they said most of the time they weren't high. I think Cheech Marin probably kept it pretty straight, but I think Tommy Chong might have been a little high. A couple shots in. It's just a ball of laughs, man. There's sequels which are funny. I don't think you could top this one. This is really where they did their best work. Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke. Check her out. All right, next. Oh, speaking of pot. I have another kind of marijuana comedy, Ted. So Ed is a Seth MacFarlane movie starring Mark Wahlberg and Mila Kunis, and Seth MacFarlane as Ted, the fuzzy bear you see right there. So I remember when this movie came out, and I was excited to see it, knowing that Seth MacFarlane was behind it. I'm a big Family Guy fan, and this did not disappoint. This movie is freaking hilarious. There's a sequel as well. It basically tracks, Mark Wahlberg as a child. He opens this toy Ted. It's like a Teddy Ruxpin type thing, but it comes to life and eventually becomes his best and lifelong friend. And they go through a bit of peril together, and by the end they're still friends. And Ted saves the day. This is really a fun-loving bear. A little raunchy. Again, I would say it is rated R. Sam Jones makes a very special appearance. If you don't know who Sam Jones is, he is Flash Gordon, the 80s Flash Gordon. And he is more than hilarious. And I think that really kind of brought him back into the pop culture, doing this movie. So check out Ted. Check out the sequel. Funny movies. I hope they make a third. I'd watch it. So anyway, moving on. There we go. Oh, so going back to the Sleaze box. So this is a Sleaze box produced compilation, I guess. It's multiple episodes of. Be careful here. This is Sleaze box. I've worked with these guys, both John Miller and Chris Woods. So there is a DVD release as well, but these are all the episodes of the Sleaze box. So what the Sleaze box started out was kind of a YouTube reviewer show. Chris and John would mainly concentrate on horror, exploitation, sci-fi movies, and they give you reviews on them and kind of educate you on stuff you may not have heard of. I tell you what, I learned a lot from both those guys. There were movies in there that I never heard of that I went on to check out later. And I revisit this every once in a blue moon to kind of remember those. And it did cause me to watch a couple of them, which I'm going to bring up here in a minute. But unfortunately, the Sleaze box shut its doors earlier this year. Chris Woods has moved on to other things. He may still have a couple of these copies floating around. I think you could possibly still get one from him. Hit him up on Facebook just directly and say, hey, I want to buy that Sleaze box Blu-ray. Because I don't think they're on YouTube anymore. I think, unfortunately, they may have shut them down, which is part of the problem that both Chris Woods and I have had over the years is, we like making exploitation movies. We like making things with shock value. And unfortunately, that doesn't seem as well accepted in today's world, which is a shame. This is the kind of stuff that we're watching, and we're like, hey, this is what I want to do. And they're like, no, you can't do that anymore. And I'm like, the way I look at it, this is fiction. No one's getting hurt. The people that sign up for doing it are adults, and there's a fan base for it. There's people that like our stuff. So, why bash that? One last note about the Sleaze box. Chris and John hadn't made a movie together in a long time, and they got together, I think it was last year, and they wrote, produced, and directed American Holocaust 2. So it's not out yet, but I know it'll be coming out soon. So keep your eye out for that. It's probably the last produced movie from the Sleaze box, as well as Hobo Cop. I got to bang one out one last time with Chris Woods too that we shot last year. But I've seen a rough cut of it, so that's going to be coming out soon. So keep your eyes out for Hobo Cop. Anyway, check these out. Chris Woods, Sleaze box, fun stuff. Okay, all right. So moving on. Vigilante, however you want to say it. I think I say Vigilante. So Vigilante is a great film with Robert Forster, Greg Williamson, kind of a buddy cop movie. It's a revenge movie, very similar to Death Wish. You could have almost put Charles Bronson in Robert Forster's role, and it is Death Wish. I'm not sure. I think Death Wish came out before this. This is 1983. The original Death Wish, I think, was 1970. So naturally, I think the producers said, hey, let's kind of do the same thing. It is a little different than the Death Wish movies because it doesn't have Charles Bronson. Slightly different story, but this is a great revenge exploitation movie made in the early 80s. So one fun fact about this movie is it came out the same year as E.T. It says 1983, but I'm pretty sure it's 1982. That's when E.T. came out. I remember that. I was a kid. So I heard a story that this movie was billed as a double feature on 42nd Street with E.T. You go see E.T., you Okay, for the second movie, you get Vigilante. So just imagine the family that went to that double feature in the early 80s. You know, mom, dad, big brother, little sister out for a day of fun at 42nd Street. You know, hookers blow and some movies. Let's go see E.T. and Vigilante. That had to be an awkward Sunday. And if you've ever seen this movie, you'll understand. I'm not going to go into too much detail because they would make something like this today. Just like, I mean, an independent person would, but not a Hollywood movie. Blue Underground released this. This is the Blu-ray. There's probably a DVD. I'm sure VHS circulating, but this is the one I have. This was actually the first Blu-ray I ever owned. Believe it or not, I had never seen that movie, and for a while, man, I was kind of not on the Blu-ray bus because I bought a Blu-ray player and I started renting stuff when you could still kind of rent stuff, and it wouldn't play about half of them. I'm like, this piece of shit, you know. And then some stuff, all this new stuff started coming out and it had all these special features. And I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna get a new Blu-ray player, and I guess I weeded out the bugs. Been that way ever since. So I like it. I think I do prefer DVDs overall because they just kind of look grainy to me. Like these are almost too clean sometimes. I mean, sometimes I like the Blu-ray better. Sometimes I like the DVD better. But I'm fine with either. I'll take it. Anyway, Vigilante. Okay, moving on. All right, another great exploitation movie, Rolling Thunder, with William Devane and an early performance from Tommy Lee Jones. So if you've never seen this banger, do not hold back. This one is awesome. Oh wow, it's got. Oh yeah, that's probably the original. Sorry. Still, so Rolling Thunder tracks an individual who was captured in Vietnam. You know, concentration camp. Gets out, I guess, and he's got a bad case of PTSD, which kind of fuels his fire for what happens to him. So he comes back from the NAM. He's awarded a bunch of silver dollars for every day that he was in said concentration camp. And these hooligans find out about it, and they try to rob this poor individual, and they do, and they get away with it. They slew his family, and then the rest of the movie is, you know, he's got to get his revenge. So during that process, and this is classic. He couldn't have wrote something better. They cut off his hand, and then he's equipped with a hook. So he's this guy, this Vietnam vet with a hook and a shotgun, taking down bad guys from that point forward. And he's got ice water in his veins, man. Like he does not give an F. You know, he's taking down everybody, and he does a great job. This actor William Devane. I've always liked him. I've seen him in a few things, and I think this is one of his best roles. And this movie is phenomenal. 9.5 out of 10. I can watch this over and over again. This is a Shout Factory release of this movie. So Rolling Thunder, check it out. Okay, all right. So we got one more. So this is a 4-movie compilation. I got a few of these. These were put out by a Shout Factory. Okay. I bought this used actually, and this one particular one is signed by Fred Olen Ray. So Fred Olen Ray made the movie Alienator. You've never seen that. So I didn't watch Alienator. I've seen all 4 of these movies, but this time around I didn't watch Alienator because I was on kind of a vigilante kick. So I watched this movie at the bottom here, Eye of the Tiger, with Gary Busey. So Gary Busey is quite a character. You know, his early work, he's really like he's got some kind of just his look and his demeanor just gives off a vibe. Like he's a little creepy. You don't want to mess with this guy, and gives off the exact same vibe in Eye of the Tiger. So Eye of the Tiger, this guy gets out of jail, goes back to his hometown, but it's overrun with bad bikers. So he comes in to save the day. So again, a vigilante, like he's not necessarily the nicest guy. He was in prison. You know, he's obviously had his run-ins with the law, but who else to save this small town than Gary Busey? You know, I hope if I have a problem that Gary Busey comes in and saves my town. That's who I'd want to do it. So I don't think it's a very well-known film in this too. Like I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. I was late to the party. I didn't see this when it came out or anything like that. So Eye of the Tiger, if you're looking for a Gary Busey former Vietnam veteran revenge movie. Check that out. Exterminator 2, same thing. Exterminator 1 is better. That's on this compilation. But Exterminator 2 is almost like so bad it's good. Mario Van Peebles is in it. But check out the original, Robert Ginty. That might be my favorite of those types of movies. You know, where Vietnam veteran comes back to town, he's got PTSD, and you know he's there to save the day once again. So anyway, Eye of the Tiger, Gary Busey, early '80s movie, I believe. '86, mid '80s. Check it out. Okay, actually, one last thing. Not necessarily a movie review or anything, but something to mention. I got something special to show you here. This just came in the mail yesterday. So, show it off. So this is the Fatal Desires poster. So I only got one of these made. I used to get posters made all the time for my movies. And it started becoming expensive, and people didn't want to buy them, and you know, like any business, I mean, you're seeing it wasn't working out, and I had to stop making posters. So I think I'm pretty sure with the Swamp Woman we had a decent amount of posters, you know, where I had something I could give out and sell. But Fatal Desires only had this one made. I'm going to have it at the premiere. So this is my newest film. Stars Aaron Brown, Jessica Flux, and Alice Winkler, DeAndre Noir, and a bunch of other great people. Sushi is in it, my go-to favorite actress. And this is an erotic thriller. So they stopped kind of making these movies, and that's why I wanted to make it. You don't see these types of movies anymore. They, I don't know. I guess they were deemed just too offensive for society, but they were so prevalent, you know. Late night Cinemax was what was kind of made it famous, and you had the more classier ones like Fatal Attraction, Basic Instincts, you know, to name a couple ones. But then you had the kind of lower end ones. You know, I don't want to bash anyone. They were sleazier. Possessed by the Night. What else comes to mind? Like really kind of trashy. Inner Sanctum. So like they were almost loaded with sex and violence sometimes. And you know, that's what we were trying to make, I guess, kind of a mix of the two, like a little classy but a little trashy. You know, I wanted to try to just capture everything that I could, and I think we did a really good job. I was really happy with the result of this movie. So anyway, if you want to see it, and you're here in Florida, or if you want to take a ride, September 24th, Wednesday, at the Sunray Cinemas, University Mall, 7 p.m. We are going to have a screening of Fatal Desires. I have not done a screening of my movie, any of my movies, since 2019, Heartbreak Killers. Last time I did that, something else I've gotten away from. So I'm trying to get back into that. Come check out Fatal Desires. If erotic thrillers are your thing, or if you just want to meet me and some of the cast, or both. I may even have some Blu-rays, hopefully by then. We're working towards that. So Fatal Desires, September 24th. I made an event out of it on Facebook. I've been advertising it. Come check it out. All right. So that's it for today's show. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week.